believe that schools should not mandate students to take physical tests. To be honest, not every student has the same physical ability or health condition. For example, some students may have asthma or other health problem. So, jogging or heavy training can be too hard for them. In addition, not all schools focus on physical skill. Some focus more on academic or arts. Moreover, forcing students to do physical tests might make them feel stressed if they can do well. So, to sum up, I disagree with making physical tests mandatory because it's not fair. The reading passage announced about a new university rule. It says that friends or family cannot stay in the dorm for more than 3 nights. The school think long visit disturb other students and make it hard to study. The man in the conversation had the idea. He started off by saying it's not a big problem if visitors are polite and ask permission. He also gave an example. His roommate brother stayed for a few days, and it was fine and made them closer. He also mentioned some students live far from home, and their families cannot afford hotel. Asking them to find another place is expensive and stressful. In conclusion, the man believes the new rule is not needed and causes more trouble than help. According to the reading, hilltopping is a mating behavior found in some insects. It happens when male insects fly to the top of a hill and stay there for several days to compete with other males for the best territory. Those who stay at the highest point have a better chance to mate because they appear stronger and more attractive to females. In the lecture, the professor delves deeper into the subject by explaining examples of butterflies and wasps. First, the professor explained that male butterflies fly to the top of hills and wait for females to arrive. They compete with other males to get the attention of females. Secondly, the professor described the male wasps also go to hilltops and defend their territories from other males. This behavior helps them show their strength and attract females. So, after listening, I now have a better understanding of how hilltopping help male insects compete for mates and improve their chance of reproduction. In the lecture, the professor explained business can establish connection with customer in two main ways: social and economic. Social connection refer to emotional bonds, while economic connection involve financial benefits. In the lecture, the professor explained how and why companies use these strategies. First, the professor discussed that business build social connection by communicating personally with their customer. For example, they use social media to share stories or respond to customer feedback. This helps customers feel appreciated and emotionally connected to the brand. Secondly, the professor described economic connections which are created through discount, loyalty card, or reward points. This program encourage customers to make repeat purchase and stay loyal to the company. In conclusion, I understand that by combining both social and economic connection, business can increase customer loyalty and achieve long-term success. Personally, I strongly believe that I prefer to work in a relaxed environment. I remember when I feel calm, I can focus better and finish my work faster. For example, when I do my work in a quiet place like the library, I can finish it faster and the results are better. In addition, a relaxed environment helps reduce stress and allow me to enjoy myself. For example, when my teacher creates a comfortable classroom atmosphere, I enjoy the class more and understand better. In conclusion, I prefer to work in a relaxed environment because it helps me stay focused and feel happier while working. The reading passage notes a plan to buy new gym equipment for the university. The university thinks this will help students have more ways to exercise and stay healthy. The man in the conversation had the idea. He started off by saying that the gym already has enough machine. For example, he say he never has to wait to use the bikes or the weight machine even when many people are there. He also mentioned that students already have many other ways to stay fit. For example, there is a swimming pool, running pads, and many sport teams, so new machines are not really needed. In conclusion, the man thinks the new team plan is a waste of money because students already have many good places to exercise. According to the reading, the law of diminishing returns means that when we keep adding more workers or machines to fix place, the extra output will become smaller and smaller. In the lecture, the professor delves deeper in the subject by explaining that this law can be seen in real life. First, the professor talks about a farmer who adds more workers to a small piece of land. At first, the production increases, but after a point, too many workers make the land crowded and less productive. Secondly, the professor described a factory that keeps buying more machines. At the beginning, it helps the company work faster, but later, there is not enough space or power for all machines, so efficiency decreases. In conclusion, the professor example show that after a certain limit, adding more labor or machine will not increase output and can even reduce efficiency. The professor goes into a ton of detail about two popular programming styles, procedural and object-oriented programming. After introducing the topic, the lecturer mentioned that in procedural programming, its procedure can be called at any point in the program's execution, even by other procedures or itself. For example, a program might include procedures to read and write file or calculate the square root of a number. He goes on to say that object-oriented programming, on the other hand, organizes software around objects rather than procedures. An object contains both data and function and can represent things like a person with a name and address or a small program such as a widget. So, after listening, I now have a better understanding that procedural programming focuses on function and operation. Well, object-oriented programming focuses on data and the behavior of objects. Both methods are useful depending on the software needs.